Hello everyone, thanks to the power of the internet, I get to talk with all of you. And welcome to business, because we're playing with scales. And trying to keep an equilibrium. Alright, yeah, I know. I'm bad at jokes, I'm bad at making decks. But this one, I originally thought was mid, but I'm growing on it. It's just expensive. So let's go over it. First, what does, Aelquilibra do? Well, for a hefty Soul Blast 2, you can choose 3 rear guards, they get 5k. That's really cool. If you choose 2 or more with the overcharge ability, you get a draw card. And this gets 10k. So it's 23 already. That's okay. I'll take that. Persona Ride, that's 33. So the main issue of the deck is just keeping Soul Charge. But guess what? This thing has a Divine skill. And this is originally why I thought it was mid. Because if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, this one's justified because you counterblast 1, choose 2 of your units, they get 5k. But if your opponent has 4 or less, you just knock them for 1 damage. And if they were to reveal a trigger, the power increase gets a minus 10k. So, normal triggers get nothing. You'll lose. Good day, sir. But if you check over trigger, that's 100 million minus 10,000. That still ends the turn. But outside of that, it's pretty cool. During your full turn on a Divine skill, you can choose all 5 of your units and they get plus 5k. Most overcharge units get plus 10k when they're chosen. So that's a good trade-off. It's a plus 15k. That gets numbers. What does the grade 2 do? When this unit is rode upon by a grade 3, look at the top 3. Choose up to a grade 3 or less from among them, reveal it, put the rest on the bottom of the deck. If you reveal the card with the overcharge ability, you still charge 1. Not too bad. If I actually check, you can get a Persona Ride, but you don't have the overcharge ability yourself. That's kind of an oversight, because this is the reintroduction of keywords from G. It's important that your Vanguard also has it. Wait, the grade 2 doesn't have it. I mean, it's just on the ride line, so it doesn't matter that much, but hey. Grade 1, when this unit is rode upon, you may call it a rear, and Soul Charge 1. Okay, so this is pretty cool. Keeps you healthy, and on Persona Ride, how many is that? 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so you can have 6 in Soul already. If the grade 2 also Soul Charges. And this does have the overcharge ability. Well, I guess it does get called to rear, so it makes sense. But yeah, like I said, if it's grade 3 or greater, if it's chosen by your Vanguard, it gets plus 10k. So it's already a plus 15, so a 23 booster. And of course, as always, grade 0 doesn't matter. But hello, Gatling Dragon. Now that would more be Gatling Dragon. I don't know. You're more like one of the wyverns. Alright, moment over. To the main deck. Of course, you want all 3 of the scales. This is part of the reason why the deck is expensive. These boys. Because I look through Dragon Empires, and nothing quite says on play Soul Charge 1. But also counterblast 1, retire something, or a grade 2 or less from Soul, and call it a rear. Now, a lot of this deck wants you to have the overcharge ability on rear, especially for one of the grade 2 units I'm going to show. The main one, I would say. But one of the other reasons this card's hell of expensive is you want the far height. Because discard, you're going to counterblast. You can energy blast. I suggest against it for the next grade 2 I'm about to show. But also you get a draw off of it from shield value. And additionally, you can call this during a Persona ride to get a grade 1 without Sentinel to the back row. This is really cool. That's a free value. I will tell you why later. Alright, but the grade 2. This thing's really cool. During your turn, if you have 3 or more with the overcharge ability, 5k. It sucks that your Vanguard doesn't have overcharge, but he has overcharge, so it really reads 2 or more. But also, the reason why you are deterred from using energy, but I said you could, is when your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, if the unit was chosen by your Vanguard's ability, you can Energy Blast 3, stand this, and it gets plus 10. So doing the full power boost, from that plus 10, it's 20. From the Vanguard being chosen is plus 5, so it's 25. If you have 3 or more with overcharge, that's 30. Without Persona Ride, without checking of triggers. Massive numbers. The only downside is you have to wait till your opponent's grade 3, so you can't just knock this off the bat when they're grade 2. So you might have 10 or 9 energy, which sucks big time. Now, going over why I'm saying use your Counter Blast. It's because of this grade 1 right here, which is super cool. Farzia is going to be very underrated, but is honestly the best unit you're always going to see and call back, because Aelquilibrium never runs out of Counter Blast, because you're always recharging it with her. Because if it's chosen by your Vanguard's ability, not only is it getting plus 15, 23k booster, if you did not countercharge this turn, retire and countercharge 1. Alright? How useful is that? Well, most everything will counterblast. Well, the extra support I included, and I guess, your divine skill. But hey, read this from this perspective. Discard this, counterblast 1. You didn't soul charge that turn. Countercharge. Hey, guess what? You Persona Road. Counterblast 1. Countercharge. Because, yeah, choose a grade 1 without Sentinel. That meets the requirements. Hey, what about you? On place, Counterblast, choose a grade 2 or less from your soul. Well, you soul charge a lot, and it's not targeted soul charge, so she might end up in the soul. Hey, countercharge that. Or, get a retire. That's also very valid. But, hey, do you know who else might end up in the soul? And reason number 3 why this deck is expensive? Hello, Shenri, who says 13k booster, goes into soul, draws you a card. Yeah, there's a lot of drawing in this deck, if you haven't noticed. But the last grade 1 of the lineup, I have him in here because he's an overcharge ability, but also on the place you counterblast 1, draw a card, and soul charge 1. So you're really deck thinning, so you gotta be very conscious of that. But that is the reason why he's here. There's another card with overcharge that didn't make it into the deck. It's the grade 3, because when this unit attacks, if it was chosen by the ability, you Energy Blast 3, and that's contending with, your Restander and discard for Ride. So that's one reason, and it only is plus 15. So I guess that's actually a 33k attacker, because overcharge gives it plus 5 when chosen. And it will get rid of itself and draw you a card. It's okay, but there's just better if you're going for the full competitive. And then this really cool order, which reminds me of Stokea. Counterblast 1. If your Vanguard is who it's supposed to be, you choose 2 grade 3s or less from drop with overcharge and call them. They do gotta be different names, but hey. Call your Restander and pay for the order. Not much to say. Going to the triggers, we're of course going all critical, and this deck draws you a lot of cards. So I put in fronts to make your more massive numbers bigger. Because, hey look, you got a Restander, who I already says gets to like 30 barring Persona Ride. So just imagine, 40 Persona Ride turn, check a front, 50. You have done literally nothing but Soul Blast 2, Energy Blast 3. Yeah, pretty cool, kid. So, yeah, this has grown on me. Considering when it first came out, I was just saying, it's mid. It's not gonna do much. And then I was like, oh yeah, if you just decide to spend, what is this? This is 20 bucks each, like 30. I'm just going to lowball 15. You're already spending like 200, 150. Worst of all is there's not really budget options. I think you could play the other discard for ride to draw, because it still gets you back a unit, which will be Farzia. Let's see if I can actually demonstrate this deck. Yeah, sure. Cool. Goodbye. 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 I really want to be going second. Okay. Yeah, this is the one downside to energy and counterblast. Unlike the original one, where you have to soul blast for it, which is always available, this one does not. I'm going to be super hella aggressive, so I'm actually going to get rid of my PG for ride. This doesn't do anything on my turn. We're going to take one. Even if they tried, you're only going to take one. We're going to get her back regardless if you watch. But goodbye 3 energy. Because you do gotta wait for her to be chosen by an effect before the massive countercharging begins. So we draw one. That is going to be called to the rear. First ride. Call. We are going to soul charge the one. Alright. Not the best thing in the world to get rid of, but we are now going Shenri. They now have less than us, so of course Shenri is now very much active. She's got a boost, don't she? Yep. Swing low, I know. Heaven forbid. But I'm most likely going to draw a trigger off of Shenri right here, because at the end of the battle, we're gonna put that to soul and draw a card. Ooh, no. Persona Ride. Alright, we're cooking. Swing. Let's just say they don't take it, so they'll most likely be at 2. They were at 1, so I do heal. Their turn, battle phase. Yeah, we're going to take a few damage. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, I forgot to go over that card. Because you can draw 2 cards, which this deck does great. Or if you're really desperate for that, like, 1 extra soul and a countercharge, Boba's Pot of Greed is here to serve your needs. Alright, stand and draw. This thing will look at the top 3 for us, but hey. We're going to discard. We're finally going to play the Counterblast. Because if I ever see the grade 2, I kind of want to start building up that reserve now. So we are going to ride. My thing will get me a draw. Perfect. We are going to look at the top 3. My soul's pretty heavy already. So I think I'm honestly going to take this one to hand. Because we can move that back. No. I didn't act Shenri, but it is a cost, so hey. We are going to do that. who will soul charge us 1. Get power plus 5. I can now counter blast and choose one of my opponent's rear guards to retire it. Very feasible, but no. I want to look in my drop. I don't want you to be called there. Yeah. We're just gonna call, but we're gonna call her. I don't have a lot of overcharge, but we are now more than our opponent, so Shenry is going to get a power up. Now we're going to Soul Blast 2. Because that has the overcharge ability. I want Shenry in just in case I can call it. We'll just drop the grade 2, which is probably now why I'm realizing. Alright, so I need to choose 2 or more with overcharge. So EU2, and we're gonna give you plus 5, making my Vanguard the smallest swinger. But because I chose 2 or more with the overcharge ability, I now draw a card, and that gets power plus 10. And see, my opponent's still grade 2. Pretty decent board, if we do agree. So, because we play fronts and crits, we're just going to move right to battle, and nothing will restand. So, a massive swing. Don't forget our opponent's at 2, so probably no guard. Sure, I like this more. Yeah. Outside of the fact she has the overcharge ability, check 1, check 2. We don't even have to countercharge now. Yay. Alright, so they're at 3. Shenry will now activate, going to Soul, drawing us a card. For me... yeah, so if they want to block 48, they're more than happy to. Because the cost is retiring this unit, I can just keep her around, which I'm pretty much going to do. So, battle phase. My hand's big enough at 10 cards, so we're just going to take a few damage. Crit. Cool. Crit. Let's just say they attack my rears at this point, just to get it off the field. Alright, that's the end of their turn. Oh, another one. We're going to be cruel and abusive now, thank you very much. We're going to start with a Persona ride. Oh, hey, Shenry. Yeah, we have the order, but hey, we're already set, because we're going to drop 1, drop 2, drop Shenry. Already going to get power plus 5. And now we're really going to just explode. Because now we're going to activate 1, 2. I choose 3 units. We're just going to do the power plus 5 for right now, because... Alright. Because I chose more units, I draw a card, and power plus 10. Hey, look. This now has the effect. There are 3 or more with overcharge, so it gets power plus 5. This was chosen, so power plus 10. Note that this doesn't get the plus 10 from being chosen until it stands. But hey, we are now going to Divine. So I get to choose 2 more. And it's simply going to give itself plus 10, so. And now, because my opponent is at 4, I forcibly deal them to 5. Now they have to survive also 5 attacks. And just to make sure I'm going to be doing this right, because I'm known to misreading my cards, when your Vanguard attacks a grade 3 or greater. So it has to swing first. Awesome. Let's move to battle. We're going to swing supported because they have to guard this. So this is most likely going to force a PG instead of just a few triggers. Same logic over here. If you want, at the end of the battle, you can now get rid of this counter charge. You've spent nothing, and you've already fueled this for next turn. We're now going to swing with Vanguard. When your Vanguard attacks a grade 3 or greater, this was chosen by an effect with a card name. We're going to Energy Blast 3 for each. Stand. Power plus 10. Alright, cool. Now don't forget, if they get a defensive, at any moment, it's minus 10 to that, but at this moment, it's just overkill. But this also means if they heal out of this at 6, they don't get the defensive benefit. So, check 1. Front trigger. Why we're running these. Check 2. Because not only have they had to guard that, we're going to now activate Shenry to draw a card. And swing 50, swing 50. Now, assuming they somehow live this, their first grade 3 turn, you have 12 cards in hand and a Persona Ride set up for next turn. Now, assuming if you're not me, you will most likely have a PG in your hand. But hey, we have, what is this? 20, 40, 50, 65, 80 guard card. Hey, if you really want to push it, 90 guard right there. Yeah, your hand's empty, but you're going to Persona Ride, draw a card. Hey, get your over back, you know, your counter charger. And I guess the grade 1. Just to have boosters. And rinse and repeat. Just this alone has made me want to play Dragon Empire so desperately. But if you made it this far in my ramblings, thank you very much. And obviously, this is a fair and balanced deck, as all things should be, because look, we have the scales, and we didn't get this. We didn't get big numbers, not at all. Let this go under the radar. Let this be hella cheap for me, because you're already spending a fortune to make it good.